All materials are connected to different places. When we study materials, we can actually connect to a whole range of different aspects of culture. The history of materials is inseparable in many ways from the history of us.
To think about materials allows us to engage with interdisciplinary issues. To think about what plastic is today involves not only thinking about the materiality of plastic, but other fields beyond art and art history. Using materials as an approach for thinking about artworks and thinking about making is a way that can allow art and art history to kind of touch on all these other areas and all these other disciplines.
We're interested in traditional art materials, so stone and metal and paint and pigments and clays, and then we're also interested in more contemporary materials, text in bodies and in pixels. And of course each of these materials has different qualities. They're sticky or they're resistant, pollutant or edible even. And then think about what the cultural associations are with those qualities. We enable our students to investigate materials hands-on. For an art histories qualification, this is really quite unusual because it introduces the opportunity to try and understand materials from a kind of a maker's perspective. Art making produces quite a particular kind of knowledge, and it's a knowledge which comes out of a thinking which privileges the relationship between the eye and the hand, which seems to sometimes bypass the thinking mind or the intellectual mind altogether. The more exploratory aspect of the course is underpinned by a series of lectures that explore kind of critical perspectives around materials.
To think critically with materials is to try and follow the material itself and follow the material through a process of where does it originate? Where do they come from? What do we do with them? You are working with people who work with materials every day. That can really help you when you think about what this object means and how it's positioned in the world.
One can delve deeper than just the philosophical idea of things and get proper measurements and sometimes even chemical names to materials that have been involved. They wouldn't always write down recipes or techniques and methods, and that affects the way we see materials today.
I'm interested in materials that almost have a life of their own, that they're beyond our control. Sugar, wax, resin, lots of materials that are quite unstable.
Working on a conservation treatment of early 19th century ivory tiered basket. There was a lot of research into how it reacts with moisture, how it reacts with temperature, heat, and then from there I could really understand how I could store it or treat it.
So my work is essentially about memory, the fragility, the materiality of it, following the ideas of Deleuze and Bergson, the idea that the memory is not in your brain, the memory is in your body, is outside it, is on the space. That really led me to not rely on image. You just take this advantage of the school and suddenly you don't realize that you're more interested in materials than you were before.
If you're interested in art or dealing with art on a professional basis, you should be knowledgeable about the materials that are used. The more experience you get with different materials, the more you learn about yourself and your practice. And when you're exposed to all these things, I think gives you a better option to find yourself with your practice.
So I think that it's important to think about materials now and that this course fits in with a broader trend in the humanities that we might think of as a kind of turn towards materials and thinking about them in other fields such as philosophy or anthropology and really trying to dig down into how materials are shaping our lives.